All right, back to it and back to reading. It's been, it's been a little while. We're back to Scarlet Hollow, and yeah, we got more reading to do, which every Let's Player loves it. Reading tons of text. You know, that's not even like character dialogue. Is our favorite thing to do. There's nothing we would rather do than just yeah. So we went through the folklore. I hope not every single book has so many entries, because then I'm like, chill, you know, come on. I'm not literally in a library. I don't literally want to go through every single book. But yeah, I guess we go through Veins of Scarlet, History of the Scarlet Hollow Coal Mines, because I think that might be a quite, although all are, well, let's go to the mines. Yeah. Forced into retirement at age 50 due to a war injury from this time in the Indian Wars, exacerbated by his short stint serving as a captain in the Confederacy, Silas Scarlet also lost his eldest two sons to that bloodiest of wars, leaving his third eldest son, Andrew Jackson Scarlet, to take charge of the mine. Under his leadership, the mine prospered, undoubtedly in part due to the growth of the railroad industry. Oh, that's cool! We're doing the... In German, you would say Querlesen, which is basically like reading across. So you're scanning for keywords, which is something you start to learn when you study, because you have to read so many texts that at a certain point you're like, no, I'm not reading this whole stuff. You know, I see where stuff pops up that seems like relevant. Managed to evade the coal union for decades, making them one of the most profitable mines in the country. Andrew Scarlet built the surrounding town into what it is today, with expensive stone buildings, a bustling main street, and overseeing it all, the elegant Scarlet Estate that was until 1895 the largest and finest feat of architecture in the region, culminating in the tragic collapse of 1918. It was found that Charles Shaw, the co-manager of the mine, had loosened security measures to increase production during World War I, resulting in a fatal collapse and the deaths of over 160 men and boys, some as young as 10. The casualties included Andrew Jackson Scarlet's son Theodore, his brother Enoch V. Scarlet, who had taken over for their aging father during the bustle of the war, managed to pull the mine from the brink of the ruin, thereby saving the town. So this is how your family made its fortune. Okay, well, I guess we read the long read last time. Historical buildings of Scarlet Hollow. Just the thought of reading a book like this would probably put most people to sleep. But you've got a mystery to solve, and to solve it, you need to know everything there is to know about this town. Yeah, but not in real time. You know, this is a game. Like, skip a few things. Oh, no! No! I don't want to read 20 articles! Oh. The Scarlet Estate, inarguably the most striking piece of architecture in Scarlet Hollow and the most elaborate and elegant estate in the region prior to the construction of the Biltmore in 1895. Look, this is not even relevant information. Not at all. Andrew Jackson Scarlet chose the location to be atop a hill in Scarlet Hollow's geographic center so that it might be seen from the town below. It remains a constant reminder of the family who carved Scarlet Hollow from the wilderness and provided wealth and prosperity to its residents. Okay, that's the length I can deal with. Okay, but also, we learned nothing. We learned nothing out of that. There was nothing relevant in there. First used as a field hospital during the Civil War, it was named for Silas Scarlet's eldest son, who perished in the bloody conflict. It still stands at the end of what is now the residential district of Scarlet Hollow and has served the health of the community for over 100 years. In the late 1800s, as the town prospered from a coal boom, additions were built onto the house, and it was transformed into a sanatorium, bringing in prestigious clientele from around the world. They believed the fresh mountain air would do them well, as Scarlet Hollow became a tourist destination for patients of all afflictions. The clinic still operates to this day as a doctor's office and stands as a building of cultural significance. The coal mines. The original mining facility is no longer standing, having been destroyed in the collapse of 1918. Though the new facility, outfitted with all the cutting-edge technologies of the industry, is in itself a fine example of practical construction, the first iteration of the mining camp was a true product of its time, and what few photographs exist are an interesting peek back at a different era. One can still visit the site of the original Scarlet coal mine, though all that remains are few abandoned tunnels closed off to the public. The Tremaine Homestead. Situated on the edge of Scarlet Hollow's farmlands, Tremaine Homestead was one of the earliest settlements in Scarlet Hollow, predating even the town's famous coal mines. For many decades, the Tremaine family maintained the largest farm in Scarlet Hollow, but a break in the family led them to split the land in two, and Homestead along with it. Despite the many changes made to the two halves of the Tremaine Homestead in the subsequent decades, The original log structures are still visible and maintained to this day. They're undoubtedly the oldest buildings left standing in Scarlet Hollow. That is actually interesting. First Baptist Church. One of the first buildings constructed by the Scarlet family, the Scarlet Hollow First Baptist Church, still sits on its original foundation, though the building was reconstructed to accommodate the influx of citizens during the Scarlet Hollow coal boom of the late 1800s. Attendance has dwindled since the infamous mine collapse of 1918, and while the building may have fallen into disrepair, its simple vaulted ceilings still evoke awe to any who enter. And the Town Hall. Silas Scarlet personally funded the Town Hall's construction as the first municipal building in the then small community of Scarlet Hollow. It has stood at the end of Main Street since before the Civil War, its white-columned edifice withstanding the ravages of the 1860s and continuing to stand to this day, a stunning piece of antebellum architecture. After the town of Scarlet Hollow switched to a dark mayor system of governance in the 1920s, the building has been put to different use, though the upstairs still houses the town archives and a special ceremonial office for events with the mayor. What's the dark mayor system? Maybe they're not living there anymore, so it's not like the White House, which it's a weird concept, right? I mean, I don't want to live where I work. Even if I'm the president of the United States, I want to live somewhere else just to work-life balance it, you know? You can't really, you know, you can't do that if you're living in your office. So the mayor of Scarlet Hollow is a dog. Wait, that's literally a dog. Okay. Is it? Maybe read about it? I don't know. Okay, I'm done here. He closed the book and put it back. And then we got Silas Scarlet, soldier, woodsman, leader. Hey, that's probably a lot of bull. Silas Everett Scarlet was born to Colonel Everett J. Scarlet in 1818, one of the 12 siblings. He grew up in eastern North Carolina during a tumultuous time in the state's history, and not much is known about his life before he joined the army in 1836. I mean, that's the first 18 years of his life, so probably there wasn't much. It's a little bit like Jesus, right? We don't know how he was during puberty. Maybe he was a big old school bully. He quickly rose through the ranks in part due to his father's connections, but also due to a particular ruthlessness for which he received the nickname Bloody Silas Scarlet. The federal government granted the now Captain Silas a tract of bounty land in exchange for his service in the Indian War, and he settled into the hills of North Carolina in 1841. That land would become Scarlet Hollow. But it started as a simple log cabin built by Silas' own two hands, occupied by his family of 10. Silas, his wife, Mary Joseph Scarlet, and their 8 children. Oh my god, Mary Joseph Scarlet. I hope you are fine, because that's crazy. Logging business drew many workers and fellow landowners to the hills, but it wasn't until Silas discovered rich seams of coal running underneath the entire region that Scarlet Hollow was really put on the map. He saved what he could and bought the surrounding hillside at a great discount, cleverly hiding what he knew about the land's true value. Thus, he had all the resources to found Scarlet Hollow's now famous coal mine. You're finished with this one. Okay, well, actually, that was not half as bad, because the folklore thing, I think, was longer than what I just read in those 4 books. I think I'm all done. Let's check in. Read every entry in all 4 books in the library. Yeah, why would I not? Why would I not? Because, especially with this game, there's so many things you can't do if you decide to do something else. So, I mean that, you know, and really, I genuinely want to know more about the city. Alright, if we're going with what Kaneeka's mom told us last night, I think we can rule out any natural disasters as what brought the ditchlings here. But no, not nuclear incidents. Looks like our state has a history with those. What? What about y'all? Find anything? Oh? Oh, hello! Before you can respond, a handsome black cat leaps on the table. Almost an instinct, Zella slams her book shut. Oh, hey, Pixel. Oh, is Pixel doing the thing where cats sometimes scrunch up paper and eat it? Because I have one of those at home. Not a book, but, well, I don't know. No books at all in my home, but a cat that eats paper. You might want to close your book. He loves to rip up any paper he can find. Yes. Oh, look, the look. Also, look at her. Pixel, my dear friend, it's been too long. How have you been? Hungry. Did Stella bring the good stuff? Don't worry, little guy. I didn't forget your treats. Oh, yeah. Snack time. Wait, it was H? Yes. Oh, look at that. Also, very suspicious that Gretchen isn't going for it. I feel like every dog owner that plays this game is like, no, that's fantasy. That is fantasy. That will not happen ever. That a dog will not go for a cat treat. Absolutely ridiculously unrealistic. 0 stars out of 5. Snack time. Crunch and crunch. Sorry if Pixel's bothering y'all. Hopefully he hasn't gobbled up any of our books. He can't stand the thought that people might pay attention to anything that isn't him. Hey Pixel, what do you think about the monsters we saw in the woods? I'm an indoor cat. I don't know nothing about no woods. I just hang out in the library, especially now that our house got haunted. Wait, your house is haunted? What? Hey, how do you know? What? I don't know, I just got that. I can't say that Pixel told me. They won't believe me. Oh, will I do this? I could do it like Pixel told me. I don't know. Oh, let's go with it. Hula is either psychic or they can talk to animals. It's a long story. Oh, Stella already kind of has an inkling. No comment. We've been living in the library for a little bit. It's been great. Way more snacks. Way more squitches. Except sometimes there's too much squitches. Look! Oh my god. Oh my god. It is so clear that the developers of this game love animals. Because every single animal encounter in this, except the chickens, that was tragic and traumatizing. But every interaction we had with animals was just so top-notch. Hold up, what kind of haunting are we talking about here? Unexplained noises? Objects appearing in strange and unfamiliar places? Oh, Oscar, don't get our hopes up like that. Nothing like that, sorry. The floor in Rosalina's bedroom just keeps seeping blood, and I've seen a strange figure in the hallway a couple of times. What? That's amazing and horrible. Wait, you see the full body apparition? Can I see it? Stella, how many times have you gone on ghost hunts and been tricked by shadows? You know what it's going to be. But what if it's an actual ghost? She probably said it more like ghost, but I was trapped in how I read it. It's totally a ghost. Let's go bust in. It's worth looking into. But I'm here for a funeral. I feel like I shouldn't be drawn into... but yeah, let's go. Let's go. You're more than welcome to check it out. Maybe tomorrow night? Yes, we'll be there. Yeah, that sounds like a fun way to spend an evening. Can't wait to get spooked by some creaky floorboards. I mean, blood on the floor. That's not creaky floorboards. That's blood on the floor. How do you explain that, Kaneeka? Why do you know? No. Why would I ask why they let a paper shredder freely wander a library? Because look at Pixel. Majestic. You can't... No, you can't. You can't just let him... you know, be contained anywhere. Leave Pixel be. You decide to leave Pixel be. The cat curls up on the table, fast asleep. Oh. The loaf. One of my favorite cat positions. Although I have to say they all are my favorite cat positions. But the loaf is just so... They can get so compact. It's amazing. Okay. Alright, I'd better get back to shelving. Let me know if you'll need anything. Yeah, Stella, what was that you were saying about nuclear incidents? That also caught my eye. You were talking about that Goldsboro thing, right? Yeah, apparently in the 60s, a B-52 carrying a live warhead broke up mid-air and dropped a couple of bombs. Fascinating bit of history there. The first of the 2 bombs landed upright after its parachute got caught in a tree. Thankfully, it didn't go off. At the time, the government claimed that the bomb was unarmed, but it later came out that the only thing preventing a detonation was a single electrical switch, which failed to trigger on the descent. And 60 years later, the second bomb still has been recovered. Oh great! Amazing! Right, its conventional explosive disintegrates in mid-air, but most of the nuclear material was made unrecoverable by flooding. If I remember correctly, they just buried it and sealed it up. Oh, that's not good. I'm sorry, did you say they buried it? Do you need something drug up? Because if so, I'm your gal. I forgot all the voice. If I did, I think I didn't really do voices, but even inflections and stuff like that, I forgot everything. I'm sorry. Goldsboro is over 300 miles from here. I don't think we have to be worried about that. I don't think disarming nuclear bombs is part of our skill set. So the nuke made the ditchlings. No, we don't know that. If the bomb is somewhere else, why would there be so many ditchlings here? Yes. We shouldn't be looking too hard at the disaster angle anyways. Whatever those creatures are, they're biological. Look, you never know with radiation. That's true. We actually know quite a bit. It just melts you. It doesn't make monsters. And a 60 years old bomb isn't going to explode on its own 100 of miles away and kill us here. Well, I don't know about the last part of that. I do know that radiation, contrary to what comic books told us, you know, will not cause like super cool mutations, but rather cancer. Which that's not a cool mutation, you know. But yeah. But I would still be concerned because I know that like a radioactive bomb, depending on the wind and rain and whatnot, it can have a huge radius, and then it can also seep into the groundwater, and that can go any place, you know. So, you know, you never know. There could always be a whole underground society of bomb-worshipping mutants just waiting to blow it up. Yeah, Stella. And I know she means it. You know, that's the horrible thing about it. I've missed this. Any luck with Rosalina? Who's that? Not yet. I knew a teen would be a handful, but I didn't think it'd happen overnight. I'll probably head out once you're all done and check in on our usual haunts. Ah, yeah. Do you think there's a con? No, I don't want to... Stella, no. Although... So about the coal mines here. Kaneeka visibly shudders. I get cold sweats just thinking about being in a place like that. I feel for the guys who work up there. I could never. Yeah, same. It's dark and it's like tight. There's only one escape. Speak for yourself. I love a good crevice. Ugh, of course you do, Stella. We really don't. Like, I could never romance her because it's diametrical. Is that a real word? We just, you know, there's certain, even if you like someone, their whole lifestyle is so different from yours that you're like, look, we could probably be friends, but we could never be in such a close relationship where you do a lot of stuff together because it would always stress at least one person out. Okay, anyways, what happened after the mine collapse? The book just kind of glosses over that. There was a union for a little bit, but it didn't last. There's not a whole lot written about the past century here. Yeah, the Scarlet Hollow mine isn't exactly the most ethically run business. I'm sure Tubby runs the mines better than Charles Shaw did. Still, hasn't let the union in though. Oh. Okay. There's a reason she and I don't talk. Oh. Okay. History tends to be written by winners. Maybe there's more to Charles Shaw's story than these dusty old books are letting on. Normally I'd be inclined to agree with you there, but we're talking about an old-timey coal boss. I'd be shocked if he wasn't cutting corners. Hula does make a fair point. Shaw was certainly a problematic figure, but there might be other details that were lost to time. Sure, but the guy was run out of town on a rail. And that's not a figure of speech. Back then they actually tied you to a rail and ran you out of town. There's a big mural of it over on the far wall. I want to see that. I hope we get to see that. He got off easy, if you ask me. What if the ditchlings are coming from the mines? Maybe there's some sort of subterranean creature? The miners accidentally dug up. Maybe something down there making people sick and changing them. Yeah, I think it's... Well, so here's... Because we've seen two types of creatures. We've seen the mutations in the chicken and the deer, and even the guy that stalked us on our way home the previous day. But then the ditchlings themselves, for lack of a better word, they look completely different. And the question is whether they are just, you know, whether all those other mutations eventually turn into a ditchling, or whether the ditchlings are there because of the mutations, but they're not the cause of the mutations. You know? So, But it could still be that there's something down there making people sick and changing them. Never mind the ditchlings. That wouldn't explain how many ditchlings we saw last night. Like, sure, occasionally a miner goes missing, but we saw dozens of the things. I mean, it's definitely not mutated miners, but what if there's some sort of parasite down there? Maybe it got into some animals and spread to the woods. Kaneeka, you and I were actually, you know, yeah. Getting a really good vibe from you, opposed to Stella. And now that I think about it, Wayne's a miner. Maybe that ties him into all of this. I know it sounds ridiculous, but it's one of the more plausible explanations we've got so far. Oh, thank you. Let's talk about historical buildings. Oh my god, you read that? That book was assigned as punishment if you misbehaved in school. It's an excellent sleep aid. NyQuil and melatonin have nothing on historical buildings of Scarlet Hollow. Rumor has it that nobody has read it from cover to cover. You guys are missing out. That's one of my favorite books here. Such rich history. I love a good nerd. Guess we're just kindred spirits, Hula. Yeah. Ha ha. Yeah, I read the boring book. If we're serious about solving this mystery, we have to learn as much as we can about the town's past. Look, this town has deep lore, and I'm here for all of it. Yeah, this. Oh, definitely. I brought this book here for a reason. I'm just surprised someone finally got through it. When were you going to tell me? Okay, this is new news. That the mayor is a dog. Darn, I was hoping it'd be a surprise. Scarlet Hollow hasn't had a human mayor since the 1920s. Yeah, if you were hoping the mayor might be able to help us out here, you're out of luck. I mean, could be a good boy that helps us in one way or the other. I'm afraid it's true. Mayor Jimmy is a rascal and not to be trusted. Oh, Gretchen, okay. I trust your opinion. Now hold up, Kaneeka. Can Hula talk to animals? Maybe they can get the mayor to help. Yes! Oh. I love this. Best skill ever. Stella, how would that even work? It's not like we can't just tell people the mayor told Hula to listen to them. I can't believe I'm talking about this. You're right, though. You're right. Back to our mayor list drawing board. I mean, I would like to talk to the mayor, you know. What happened to the estate? At some point, the hill it was built on started falling apart. I think it's pretty stable at this point, though. Is it? Stella, you've seen the place. Yeah, it's not. And half of it is still mostly okay. Why don't people go to church here? We've just never really had a good pastor around these parts. Not as long as I've been around, at least. And I'm not really much of a church person anyways. Who has the time? The building gives off weird vibes, too, and not in the fun, haunted way. Oh. Even the hospital here is named after my family. I know it's in the name, but calling it a hospital is generous. Right now, it's a one-woman medical clinic. If any serious emergency happen these days, we've got to call an ambulance from out of town. Oh, that sucks. That's where Reese and his mom live. She's the town doctor, though. These days, she doesn't really see a lot of patients. The Tremaine homestead seems like the only thing here that doesn't have the Scarlet name stamped on it. Yeah, I think they've been around these parts even longer than your family, though. They're the Tremaines and the Calloways now. They literally split their farmhouse in half over that schism. Duke, rest his soul, was one of the last two Calloways left. I guess it's just down to Bo now. Oh, wow. I can't imagine what he's going through right now. Yeah. That's all on this one. Talk about Sealer Scarlet. What a revisionist biography. Really glosses over all the war crimes to paint a picture of a self-made man. It's a perfect example of why you should use multiple sources for your research instead of trusting the first thing you read on a subject. Yep. Dude was a monster. Sorry you related to him. Oh well. Seems like a terrible person, but I don't see what that has to do with bad omens or creatures in the woods. You never know. I don't think he's really relevant to whatever's happening. Do you think the ditchlings are here for retribution? I am actually asking this. I don't think so, but I want to hear everyone's opinion. That seems tenuous, assuming Kaneeka's mom is right. They're here as an omen, not because they're going to do something themselves. And I think we know how I feel on the matter. Yeah. Talk about Appalachian folk monsters. I don't think any of the monsters we read about... Ugh, okay, let's go through the list. This book, the Folk Monsters book, is so annoying because it doesn't serve any purpose. It's interesting if you are into folklore, but for the story, and I want to get on with the story, it's really, like, look at all the options we have here. It's a dead end. Hopkins with goblins were silvery, small, and traveled in a pack. There's a lot of similarities to ditchlings here. Those are 100% confirmed aliens, though. Unless the Hopkins with goblins were just a couple of owls some drunk farmers saw at 3 a.m. They're not aliens. And before you say it, no, ditchlings aren't aliens either. The whole implanting thing used to say ditchlings aren't aliens. All I'm saying is that there's a precedent for this physical description. It's a starting point. Yeah, let's go with that. Fair enough. Wampus cats kind of sound like they could be mountain lions. Voice like a woman crying out somewhere between person size and cat size. Definitely, they are 100% mountain lions. Kaneeka, you're right, because Gretchen also says so, and she knows her stuff. Stella, shut up. I see your face, shut up. Kaneeka, you know there are no mountain lions up here. I thought you were supposed to be a skeptic. Like, this is ridiculous. She rather discounts that an actual existing animal is there, got lost there somehow, and instead believes that there's a made-up thing in there. That's Stella. One of these days you'll trust us. Oh, she never will. But the myths are old, right? Mountain lions didn't go extinct in the Appalachians that long ago. Those legends just haven't died off yet. Almost every cryptid can be tracked down to either a hoax or someone getting confused about a perfectly normal animal. Sometimes both. Bigfoot, for instance, started as a prank. That folks saw bears walking around on their hind legs and got freaked out, and now here we are. You'll eat those words when I get the first clear footage of a Bigfoot. Yeah, sure, Stella. Sure. You know what? You'll eat those words when the mountain lion eats you. If you manage that, I will print out a piece of paper that says Bigfoot isn't real and literally eat it. I promise. I'm holding you to it. Oh, God. I know she's probably really charming, because with that kind of attitude, you have to be charming to have friends like Kaneeka. But my God, she grinds my gears. Do you think the ditchlings are Tommyknockers? No, I actually. What with the whole warning thing? Good thought, but Tommyknockers live in mines. That's like the whole thing. I'm gonna write it down though. Tommyknockers are literally just the sounds that happen when a bunch of rocks and wood are about to collapse. Are they? Or are they the sound of mysterious creatures pounding on the rocks and support beams with hammers to cause collapse? Oh well. There's simply no way to know. Well, that's the cool thing for Stella, right? Because you can't prove that something doesn't exist. It's impossible, you know? So, yeah. Oh, I don't want to go through all of this. My mom used to tell me the tailpole story. I totally forgotten about it. It scared me so bad I didn't eat soup for years. I thought a monster might try and dig it out of my stomach if I did. I love that one. There's this old chimney in the woods that I used to think was the chimney from Tailpo. The one that was left after the thing did whatever it did. Now I know that just because the chimneys don't burn down and wooden houses do. That doesn't mean it's not the chimney from the Tailpo. Just shut up. I've camped out there a couple of times and seen some pretty spooky stuff. I don't believe you, Stella. Shut up. Oh yeah, I watched that video. You saw raccoons. You're gonna get rabies one of these days chasing after wildlife like that. What can I say? I like to live on the edge. You know, the thing is, I'm sorry I have to punch in on Stella so much, because I think she's actually a generally nice person. You know, she's very helpful, probably really supportive as a friend. But what grinds my gears about her character is that it would be so exhausting to me to live with someone who's so sure about all their theories and treats me like I'm the dumb person. And it reminds me, and here's the thing, and I'm getting a little bit political here, but it really reminds me of right-wing people that will tell you the most outrageous bullshit that can easily be disproven. And when you counter it with scientific facts, they will be like, yeah, that's what they told you. You know, you should read up about this. And I think this trait is so awful, to not even have a little bit of humility, you know, to say, well, maybe you're right. We will probably never know. And that just, it kind of triggers me. Stella triggers me because that behavior, it sucks ass. Okay, let's continue. No, I don't want to go through all of them. I'm sorry, I've never heard of ginseng babies before this. Oh yeah, that myth is pretty buried. The author managed to unearth it for this book. By the way, I've heard of ginseng babies before because I watched Pan's Labyrinth and there's a ginseng baby. Or, well, no, actually not a ginseng baby, there's the root babies. Can you get it? Have you seen what ginseng roots look like though? Creepy stuff. Creepy, but incapable of screaming. Yeah, that's one of those things that even I don't buy into. Okay, let's move on. Yeah, I don't. The mines are the obvious common thread here. Yeah. Between May and the old collapse and the fact that the whole town's practically been built around them, they're the smartest place to start our investigation. Good idea. There's an awful lot of mines-related stuff in my notes. We can poke around, find out if anyone's seen anything weird. Just to clarify, you two are suggesting we go to question some of the miners, right? We're not poking around unprepared in the actual mines, right? I probably was the former, and Stella probably is the latter. Right? Yeah, totally. 100%. I would never. We don't even have a good reason to go down there. Ugh. Good, let's keep it that way. You know how I feel about mines. Kaneeka... Yes. I promise, Neeks. We're just going to question some of the miners. And if that questioning gives us a good reason to poke around, say, a cool abandoned coal mine, then we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. You can cross that bridge when we come to it. I'm not going underground. I'm just messing with you. We'll stick to the surface. Liar. Look at her stinking liar face. Yeah. And hopefully we can find out what's wrong with Wayne while we're at it. Maybe Tabitha can help us out. No, I don't think she'd be super jazzed to see any of us snooping around the mines. I can't imagine what she'd do if we'd actually bothered her while she's trying to run the place. She does get a little grumpy when she's at work. She gets grumpier at work. Yeah, I just wanted to say grumpy. She already is grumpy. I'm pretty sure pissed is that girl's baseline level of existence. Chatting over dinner might be a better way to get to know her. If you're okay eating boxed mac and cheese, we can sneak around the mines no problem. She won't even know we were there. Look at us, going out on a caper together. I missed this. Look, she's already talking about us going through the mines, even though she just said we will not do that. Liar. I missed it too. Though, there is something missing. Reese. I really miss that dude. I can't believe how long it's been. Have you seen him lately? I didn't realize it was getting so bad, that poor guy. You know, we could just pop over and surprise him. He seemed excited to meet Hula. Maybe we'll finally get him to leave his little cave. Hell yeah, let's do it. See you, Oscar. We'll let you know if we run into Rosalina. Thanks, guys. I'll keep you posted. Oh. Spend some time in the library on a Tuesday. On Tuesday. So, we couldn't continue. Reese's home stands at the edge of the forest wall, an isolated buffer cushioning the rest of the town from an unending wilderness. That would be my dream home. I would be scared every single night, because I love to watch horror movies on my own, but look at this. It's beautiful, and you have the view towards the town, but also towards the woods. Oh, pretty, pretty. Unlike several of the other entries in historical buildings of Scarlet Hollow, this one still looks mostly like it did in the book. Reese, it's Stella. I brought some buddies too. Also, I love Kaneeka's outfit. That's pretty cool. Like with the Batman, like, yeah, it's pretty cool. Okay. I'm a fan of Kaneeka, obviously. Shh, not so loud. He's still sleeping. Can I help you with something? Probably his mom. The woman in the doorway stares directly into your eyes. You can practically feel her. And she is my style. That's how I dress, usually. Hi, Dr. Kelly. We were wondering if it would be okay if Reese could come hang out. Nothing strenuous, we promise. I'm not going to wake him up. If he's sleeping, he probably needs it. Whatever you two have planned is probably beyond what he can manage right now anyways. Oh no, poor Reese. It's just been so long since either of us has gotten the chance to hang out with him. I'm sure he and Hula would get along super well too. Hi, I'm Hula, Vivian's kid. I know who you are. The way she avoids looking at you as she speaks makes you feel like you've done something wrong, even though you're pretty sure you've done nothing at all. Maybe Vivian did something. Reese's mom turns back to the house, sighing. Sorry, I know that was a little rude. You just want to hang out with Reese, and he misses both of you too. He's usually feeling his best around mid-afternoon. Why don't you come over tomorrow? We can have some supper, and you all can hang out for a bit. I don't promise that he'll be perky, but I'm sure it'll brighten his spirits to see you two again. And I suppose you can come too, Hula. That would be great. I can bring a side dish. Maybe deviled eggs? Does he still eat those? No, eggs are a little much for him. They don't settle well. You can leave the cooking to me. I know what he can handle. You know what? I don't like people that will treat you bad because you're related to someone they don't like. Unless you have proven that you're kind of the same ilk, it's super unfair. And this seems like she probably had some history with our family, but I literally have no relations to this family, to this part of the family. And even if she once was friends with my mother and then my mother did something, what have I to do with it, you know? Okay, I'll bring soda then. That's not... Okay, yes, fine, you can bring soda. Nothing with caffeine, ginger ale, preferably. Oh, and leave the dog at home. No! She might cheer him up. You know they have those therapy dogs in hospital. No dogs. I never. The absolute gall. Thanks so much, Dr. Kelly. We'll stop bothering you now. See you later. Oh, Kaneeka is really scared of her. Dr. Kelly nods in acknowledgement and quickly shuts the door. The sound of several locks clicking into place can be heard from within. That was creepy, actually. God, that woman makes me so nervous. She used to be so nice when we were kids. Always had the best stickers when we had to get our shots. Maybe she's just stressed about Reese. Or maybe she's just nice to kids. Actually, that totally makes sense. Either way, I guess it's just the three of us. You gonna drive? Yeah, sorry. I don't like the thought of going up there without the van. Cool. I'll take my shortcut then. It shouldn't take long for me to get there. You're welcome to tag along, Hula. Don't worry, I won't be offended if you'd rather ride with Kaneeka. I'm sure you're probably sick of the woods. Either way, works for me. Look, I love Gretchen, but I will go with Kaneeka because I also want to talk to her a little bit. I ride with Kaneeka, see you at the mines. Mystery machine, ride with Kaneeka to the mines. Yay! Kaneeka is a careful driver, maintaining her control even though her old van bumps around on the unpaved mountain roads. She treats the tight turns with the fear they deserve, unlike your cousin, whose mood seems to make itself known through how aggressively she speeds around the treacherous bends. As someone with motion sickness, I do love a very careful but assured driver. Sorry about that little diversion, but I'm glad we could make plans with Reese. It's hard to get him to come out, and I don't think the isolation is good for his health, no matter what his mom says. So what's actually going on with Reese? A good question. I wish I knew. His mom's been saying he's sick for years and it's not like she's wrong about it. He's been a wreck the few times I've seen him. I hope it's not Munchausen by proxy, because that is such a cliche in storytelling. It's when usually a parent, very often the mother, is making the kid sick because they want the attention they get and the pity and the emotional support, but also often the financial support when they're the poor parent with a sick child. And it can turn to murder. So it's a heavy trope. There's so many stories out there. It really does exist in real life, but the way it's presented in crime shows is like it happens all the time, and I don't think it really does. So, well. Sounds a little like factitious disorder. Let's just, you know, we don't even know him. That's rough. Yep. Does Stella have a thing with cars? Oh yeah, I forgot. It took some convincing to get her the ride back with the cops last night, even after everything that happened in the woods. I'm quite sure her parents died in a car crash. She brushed me off when I asked her about it last night too. I was wondering if there's more to it than just, like, not liking them. Wait, she actually got into a car last night. She must have been really freaked out. Oh, also. Pretty. Is that Sailor Moon? Is that Sailor Moon? Oh. God damn it. That's how her parents died. Car crashed. Oh yeah, I assumed, but only until it was too late. If I would have known before... Shit, she was in the car too, just some cuts and bruises, but she doesn't like cars and tries her best to stay away from them. I don't think she's ever going to actually leave this town. Holy shit. Has she seen someone like a therapist? No. Holy shit, poor Stella. Yeah, it just wasn't fair. She's such a sweetheart, and so were her folks. Breaks my heart. What's up with your brother? It's just difficult. Have you ever had someone in your life who just can't seem to get their act together no matter how much you try to help them? Sometimes it feels like I can't trust him with the smallest bit of responsibility without him leaving a mess for me to clean up. Don't get me wrong, he's family and I love the guy, but he sure doesn't make it easy. So, do you have any plans to get out of this town, live somewhere else? Asking the real questions, huh? I can respect that. Yeah, this wasn't the plan, and it still isn't. I was actually a couple of years into vet school, top of my class might I add, when my dad died. Oh, My mom wasn't up for running the store, and you've met Miles. I only wanted to take the semester off, help them get back on their feet, but it's been a year and change now. It's not just about my family, too. The general store? That's the general store. If it winds up going under, it's hard not to imagine the whole town collapsing with it. Ooh, that's a lot of pressure. Maybe I'll get to go back next semester. I'd say welcome to the Dads Club, but I don't actually know if my dad is dead. Can I stop with this shitty joke? I hate it so much. Why is this game just keeping this fucking joke, rubbing it into my face? Oh, I am sorry, but it's like the third or fourth time that I'm like, this is a horrible joke. Vet school, just like Stella's mom. You know, I never really thought of it that way, but yeah, I guess you're right. Helping your family like this is admirable, maybe you should stay here? No! Do you really think you're going to go back and finish school? No, that sounds too critical. You'd be a great vet. You shouldn't wait on other people for permission to live your life. That sounds too condescending. I barely know her. Chase your dreams? No, let's do this. Because the others are all like, you would say that if you know the person better. Because I feel like whenever a stranger gives advice like that, I'm like, you don't know me. You really don't know me. You know, these general stitch them on a pillow advices. They don't always fit. I've seen how you are with Gretchen. Ah, shucks. I was really into biology during undergrad, and growing up around Stella and her mom gave me a special kind of love for animals. Can you please drive me out of town, like right now? What? Do you have any theories besides what we talked about at the library? I don't know. I don't think there's enough information yet to support any strong conclusions. Yeah, I'm with you. Though I've been wondering if what you two saw maybe was some sort of mutated animal. Like a strain of hairless monkeys or raccoons or something. Yeah, they didn't look like anything though. They really didn't look like anything. Do you know about Morgan Island? It's off the coast of South Carolina, and there's a whole population of rhesus monkeys. Whenever I have to do too much reading, I start to get like, I think Mr. Craven, the Let's Player, called it the burpees. But I'm not really burping, it's just like air trying to come out, which I guess is burping, but without the sound, you know? And also it's not that much. It's not like, you know, but it's always like interrupting my speech, and it's annoying, and I think it mostly happens when I have to read a lot. Rhesus monkeys infected with herpes, like 4,000 of them. Maybe the ditchlings are some kind of alopecia research monkeys. No, they really did not look like monkeys. Which sounds ridiculous now that I've said it out loud. Forget I said anything. No, those things were not monkeys. I saw them with my own eyes, and they were way too messed up to be anything like monkeys. I mean, that doesn't rule out lab monkeys, right? Could be that whatever made them hairless also caused weird swellings or altered their proportions. But that, you would still probably know. But like I said, we don't have anywhere near enough information. Can you please drive me out of town, like right now? No, remain silent. What? You and Kaneeka sit in comfortable silence for the last few minutes of the ride. Thank you. That is cool. Comfortable silence. That's nice. Like, because it's a special thing if you meet someone and you can be comfortably silent. Because most of the time, especially with new people, but even sometimes with people you know, silence can be awkward. So comfortable silence, that's cool. You and Kaneeka arrive at the mines before Stella. Stella's probably going to be another couple of... oh my... Hey, how is the ride? Look at Gretchen! Oh my god. I'm going to put Gretchen down for a sec. It's so good to see both of y'all again. Look at... Also, we have to stop this episode because I said 54 minutes and 45 minutes, and we're now at 45 minutes. Did you run here? Yeah, felt like getting a run in. I didn't want to keep y'all waiting. Maybe also because it's scary in the woods. My poor Stella was scared out of her mind. You would have thought they were the very hounds of hell were at her heels, and all that running rattled my bones something awful. You didn't run into any of those creatures, did you? Nope. That makes sense. They're probably nocturnal. I don't know if I should feel relieved or disappointed. But we're all here. What's the plan? I'm sorry, it's less action again, but I think that will be the way it will go with every single chapter. First two chapters, a lot of research, information, conversations, relationships. And then probably the third chapter usually will be the, oh my god, what just happened chapter. And I actually like this kind of storytelling. I'm very much a fan. I like an action-focused story as much as I like a character-focused story. But I really do appreciate whenever I get to know the characters and also the environment we're in. And also when we do logical things, when we look at a mystery, you know, not just go the Stella route where we're like immediately let's go to the place where the monsters are, but rather go the Kaneeka route that's more like, hey, let's do some research first so we're prepared and maybe know what we're getting ourselves into. And so I love this whole bit, and I hope it's interesting to you as well, because I know it's tons of reading. I'm not doing any voices or good acting, so it might be, I hope it's not too boring. For me, it's super interesting because I think the writing is very well done. I think the folklore book, it was a bit too much. I think 3 to 4 entries would have sufficed, but that's just a very personal, subjective opinion. Because I was kind of getting tired of reading it the last episode, and then I was getting tired of talking about it in this episode because it felt like none of these entries actually get us anywhere. And that was the annoying part for me. Like, I would have expected to have one local entry that's very much at least hinting, like we didn't even have a ditchling entry, which kind of a missed opportunity, right? So that was kind of a shame. And that's why I didn't like that book. I liked the other books because they actually gave us some history lessons on the town, and then talking about it with Kaneeka Mario. That's why I said Kaneeko. Was it Mario? Oliver? The guy. The librarian. I forgot his name again. Holy shit. Like 10 minutes ago we saw his... anyways. And Stella... to basically have a whole conversation, like, what do you think? What do you know about it? So that was really, really cool. And I like this kind of story pacing. Because so far, I don't really, outside of the folklore stories, I don't really have the feeling that the pacing is off. In fact, it's always quite interesting because there's always something that we find out, whether it's about the town, the mystery, or the people we're dealing with. And it's really nice. I do really love Kaneeka as a character. I can relate so much more to her. Also, it's one of those things where I'm like, Stella irritates me so much, but if Kaneeka is friends with her, she's probably not that bad. But then again, I knew that she wasn't that bad. Like, it's this thing where, and the older you get, I think the more you realize that there are some people where you feel like a certain trait of their character irritates me to no end, but I still know that they're actually a nice person. It's just that this specific thing annoys me so much personally. So it's more a me problem, and I have to figure out, is it worth it? Like, either as a colleague, you have to work with them, so you're like, I have to kind of, you know, push that to the back of my head, and also always realize, am I currently annoyed because they did something wrong, or am I currently annoyed because it's just, you know, this thing that I don't like in general that irritates me. And so it's yeah, I do like Stella. I don't think she's a bad person, but she irritates the heck out of me because it's too intense the way she, yeah. But how about you? Who would you probably be friends with? If you could pick and choose between Stella and Kaneeka, and I will do this with every single new character. Also the guy from the Breakfast, I forgot his name already. But I think we don't really know him that much, right? He's one of those people who would like, I probably could see myself hang out with him and spend more time with him because he seems like a really nice person, and also someone where it's easy to hang out, you know, where you can just really have a really chill, relaxed conversation. But so currently, Kaneeka, the guy from the breakfast place, the diner, then Stella, and then Tabitha, because Tabitha is just exhausting to hang out with. And I'm really sorry because I know she's grieving and everything, but from everything we've heard so far, it's not because she's grieving, it's because that's her. So yeah. Hope you enjoyed this. If you have any theories, if I missed anything in this episode, no spoilers, of course, because I know if, you know, every single playthrough is different. There's so many options you can have. So please don't spoil anything of other playthroughs, you know, of information that we couldn't have obtained in this specific playthrough. But if you have any theories or saw something here mentioned and you know more about it, then feel free to share. Also, would you like to talk to the dog mayor? Probably yes, right? I don't even have to ask that because I know we all would. Have a good day and see you. Bye-bye. This is my self-recorded outro song so I don't get hit with copyright claims. If you subscribe to a lot of fun tutorials, reviews, and let's plays.